Okay, so the next three things that I want to show you are the air cleaner, the compressor, and the shop vac systems, and they're all on this side of the workshop here. Basically, all three of these units are controlled by switches over here, right next to the door. So as soon as you come in, you have access to each of these three units here. Typically, the first thing you'll want to do is turn the air cleaner on as soon as you come in, so that any dust that you make from the saws is filtered. So you throw the switch, and as soon as that switch gets thrown on, the plug up here becomes activated, or it sends power into the plug, and then the air cleaner goes on. And this air cleaner was actually left by the previous homeowner. I guess it's an older model. I'm not sure where he got that from, but it's still pretty decent. It does the trick. You might have seen we were using it in the time-lapse videos when we were cutting all the pegboard and stuff. I had that going. And it's nice, it filters the air pretty quickly and cleans it up nice, so it's always good to be breathing clean air here. So that's the first one. I mount it nice and high there on the shelf because I guess typically they say that you should mount it in the middle of the workshop, like on the ceiling here, but it's a bit of a bulkier unit, so I wanted to keep it off to the side, but I still kept it nice and high, so it draws the air up from the ground there. And basically pulls it in from this side, and then spits the clean air out on this side. So it's drawing mainly, I guess, from the center of the workshop. And then the next two units are still, they're under here. So like you saw, that workbench section, I have the compressor unit and the shop vac unit here. I'll start with the compressor unit. So this is, it's just a small porter cable, 150 psi. The tank is only 6 gallon, yeah, 6 gallon tank. So it's a small compressor, one of the pancake compressors, but it still does the trick. We don't do much air nailing here or anything. I sometimes use the hose just for dusting things off, using the compressed air just to clean things off. But what I've done with this unit is, well, again, I guess the switch is activated by this, the compressor is activated by the switch over here. So as soon as I throw this on, the compressor will go on. It'll charge up. Once it reaches 150 psi, you can see it's down just a little bit, just above 100. So it'll charge up to about 150 psi and it'll cut off. That switch can stay on all the time over there, and this just cycles as it needs to in order to charge up. But what I've done here is I've actually tied it into a bit of a plumbing system here, just so I can get the hose attached on the outside of the cabinet here. This way, I don't need to have the hose draping out of the cabinet. I don't need to keep the doors open. It's just a way to kind of get the hose outside, and then I can have I can just run my air stuff and keep these doors shut, keep the sound dampened and everything. So what I have here is basically just like a decoupling hose. It just decouples all the vibrations and stuff from the main air compressor with the actual hard plumbing there. Again, with any hard plumbed air system, they always say, at the lowest point you should have some kind of drain valve for any condensation that gets stuck in the pipes. So that's what this is for here. If I open it, it'll start to drain some of the air, but the water will drain out with it. So anyways, yeah, I have the tank, injecting the air into here. I have a small pressure gauge up here, and this just helps me to really dial in the pressure. I do have one here as well, but it's nice to have a bigger gauge up here too, so you can see. And then basically that just runs all the way across the top here, and out the side. So I've soldered it so it comes out the side here, and then this is the air manifold on this side over here. And this is, I guess, the guts of the system right here. So I actually ordered this manifold from eBay. It's a 5-port manifold, and I have the air coming in here. These are threaded ports here, so I guess I just had to get some different fittings. It's my first time soldering copper pipe, so it's not the neatest job, but it did the trick, and there's no air leak, so I was pretty impressed with that actually. It's not too difficult actually once you get the hang of it. So yeah, so I have the air coming in. There's another pressure gauge out here, so I can see exactly what pressure we're at. Just over 50 psi right now, and then I have two ports for the air coming out here, so I can just clip into here. So these are basically just the quick connects. I can connect two hoses into the system basically, and then again the drain valve under here just to drain any excess air. And then I have a hook for the hose here just to attach it. And this is mainly what I use, you know, I have the dusting, I guess. But yeah, there's a couple of projects where I've needed the air nailer, so it's nice just to have the unit out here. I can just charge it up, or just, you know, throw the switch, let it charge, do its thing, and I'm ready to go. Don't even need to open up the doors or anything. Everything's all set to go. So yeah, that's the air compressor system. It would be nice to have a couple of drops, you know, hard plumb drops all the way around the room. I've seen a couple of systems where they'd have, you know, like a quick connect here or something, quick connect over there, maybe one on the ceiling. But again, you know, for the amount of air nailing and the air tools that we use, it's not really necessary in this case. It's more of like a wood shop, not much of a machine shop. If you had like a lot of air tools, then yeah, I could see the need for something like that. But in this case, I didn't really need it, so this served its purpose quite well. Okay, and finally I'll just talk about the shop vac system that we have here. Now before I get into the actual workings of the shop vac, I'll just show you a couple of things that we have here. First, I'll just show you the blast gates that we have for the actual vacuum system. These are from Lee Valley. They're actually pretty nice. They're plastic ABS blast gates, and they connect right into the plastic fittings that we use. You can see the vacuum pipes all up in here. So we use the plastic ones. I know you're supposed to go with metal in a wood shop, but for the amount of cutting that we do, you know, there's not too much risk for static electricity, chip fires or anything. So the plastic is okay for this purpose. But yeah, these, you know, they're nice blast gates. They seal off pretty well, and they're nice and fixed as well. They're nice and rigid. I guess that's partly because I use those metal, the all-round ties, as opposed to the Grown Newtone plastic clips. So everything is nice and solid there. Plugging the hoses in is not a problem. You can see here, it's nice and solid to plug it in here. And yeah, open up the blast gate. So it's a very nice system. And they have a pretty good seal on them actually. There's no rubber gaskets or anything, but they do form a pretty good seal right around the opening there, and there's pretty much no air leakage there, so I'm pretty happy with that. Good chip clearance as well from the actual the slide mechanism, so I'm overall pretty satisfied with these blast gates. And I have a couple of them spread all around the shop for each of the power tools that we have here. The next thing that I want to show you as well is the switches, the relay switches that I'm using for to turn the vacuum on. So I have 11 of them all around the shop, and this is what they look like here. The plate is a little bit different because it's got a little LED here. Now initially what I wanted to have was this LED to go on as soon as I throw the relay switch. So you know, as soon as I throw the switch on for the vacuum, I wanted to have the LED turn on to indicate that this is the switch that's controlling the vacuum right now. So I would know like which one to shut off afterwards if I forgot which one I turned on. But it turns out that I needed to run an extra wire into each of the boxes here. So I ran 18.2 to each of these the switches. I needed to run 18.3 if I wanted to have that. So I'll know for next time now. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But you know, I can differentiate the vacuum switches by seeing which of these switches have the LED on them. So there's a couple around the shop here. There's one mounted on the wall there. There's one over here too, and they're all around. The ones on the workbench here, I mounted them in such a way that I'd have easy access for, you know, if I'm standing here at the chop saw, I have easy access to the switcher with my right hand. If I'm on this side, I have easy access for my left hand there if I'm chopping the wood. If I'm standing here at the drill press, I can just turn it on with this switch over here. So there's quite a few and you know, good spots, good access spots to turn on the vacuum. Just in terms of the way that I wired this underneath here, it's basically just a box, and you know, it's cut through the actual 2x4 there, and I just ran BX. I basically sleeved the 18.2 wire with the BX, and it just stubs into the very back there. I'm not sure, it's kind of dark back there, but the BX just kind of stubs in through that 2x4, and just to protect the wire as it comes out here. So again, not too complicated of a wiring system, but the main guts of the system are in this relay panel up here. So right now, if I throw this main switch on here, this is controlling power for the entire shop vac system right now. So it's coming from the main panel, coming down to here. I'll throw this switch on here, and you'll see the relay panel go into standby mode. So that yellow light indicates that it's in standby right now. It's waiting for the one of the 11 switches to turn the vacuum on. And as soon as I turn the vacuum on, so I'll throw this switch over here. You'll see it's going to go into vacuum on. So that indicates that, the green light indicates that the system is on, the vacuum is working, and it's just one of those indicator lights to tell you what the system is doing. And I also have an override switch here too. So right now, this switch is down in the down position, and it's indicating that it's being controlled by the shop switches. But if I wanted to use the override, I could just turn it on here. Now it goes into override mode. So now the vacuum is just being controlled by this switch here. So anytime I throw the master switch, the relay is being overridden, and it's just straight power going through to turn the vacuum on. So override mode is mainly, I don't know why you'd want to use that, but it's just something just to override the relay. Say the relay failed or something, and you still want to be able to use the vacuum, but you don't have a replacement relay or something. It's just a way to get rid of that relay, basically. Okay, so this is what the main relay panel looks like inside. Like I said, this is the main guts of the system here. So you can see on the left here I have the 3 indicator lights and the override switch here. Everything is pretty much controlled in this area here. I won't get into the flow of the power and stuff like that because it's it'll probably take too long, but I'll just show you the main layout that I have here. Basically what I have is the controls, all the control feeds coming in here. So these are for the switches, those 11 switches all throughout the room. And then I have the main power feeds coming in here. So what we have is power in from the switch over there, and then power out to the actual plug for the actual for the vacuum down in the box down there. So what I have is a couple of bus bars here for power. So I have switched power. You can see that the screws are colored only half black. So that means switched power, constant power, and then the neutral down there, and then the ground on this side. I have the box grounded as well too. So everything is nice and safe in here. Then I have the 2 bus bars for the hots and the neutral, or I guess like the 12 volt circuits for the switches. So what happens is I have power coming into a transformer here. This is a low voltage transformer, and it basically it brings in 120 volts, and it sends out 12 volts. So this is the relay down here, and it runs off of 12 volts to all of the switches. So that's why I need to have the transformer, and I have a heatsink as well. This is I guess like an aluminum heatsink tied into the actual box. So it's a huge heatsink. I don't think it needs to be that big, but I put it on just in case. I wasn't quite sure. So better be safe than sorry. So once one of these switches is activated, it'll turn this relay on. So here, let me just turn one of these switches on here. And you can see that red light goes on, indicating that the relay is active. I'll shut it off. Now the relay is off again. So this light indicates whether the relay is active or not. This is just the light indicating that we have power in the transformer. And then these are the override switches here. I can throw the override switch. And again, it's overriding the relay, so the relay is not active anymore. It's just sending power from the constant power right into the switch power. So again, a bit of wiring to do there, but everything worked out. And it's unfortunate that I couldn't have the LEDs turn on the switches when I did it, but I'd have to have 18.3 running in here. This is only 18.2. But that's okay. Everything works, and it looks relatively good. And so there's the panel there. And I guess I got to show you the main vacuum unit as well. This is a rigid shop vac. It's a 5 horsepower, 5 gallon, I believe, 5 gallon bucket. And this is the main suction unit of the workshop. And it basically, I basically have 2 ports here. So one port is coming. It's a suction port coming in. So that's from I guess it's sucking up from all the main tubes in the workshop. and it comes in, it wraps around, and it sucks it in through there. And then there's also the exhaust port too, and the exhaust port comes off the back there, and it wraps around, and I just have it coming out of the of this little cabinet area, and it just comes out here into a little noise filter, and or I guess it's called a radial diffuser, and it's basically just like a muffler, and so it just muffles the amount of sound coming out. But it's in an area where it's, you know, it's not too, I'm not too concerned about having things blow around here, so because there is a bit of airflow coming out, and it's nice just to be able to have it off to the side somewhere where I don't really worry about dust being blowing all around. And you know, it fits nicely into this cabinet. I made sure that it had enough height in the cabinet to allow for the unit in terms of the height and the width, and to have space for the compressor on the side as well. I was going to put a little like a little shelf or a cabinet inside here as well for like the brush and all these, you know, all these extra things here, but I figured no, it's probably better just to have a clean space and you can store that stuff elsewhere. And it works well though. And then in terms of the vacuum lines that we have here, I guess I can't remember if I showed you the actual completed system, but you can see here this is where the main intake is right there, and then it splits either way. And it's nicely tucked away up in the joist space up here, right above the wiring. It's all the way around here. And this is where we have the last three drops here. This is for the sander down there, the table saw, which I guess we're not quite using now, but that comes down to here. And then lastly, just for the bandsaw here. And just in terms of this this pipe over here, if you remember in the very beginning of the video, this is the house vacuum pipe here. If you remember, it was dropped down too low, and it was kind of sticking out on the outside of the basement here. So I've lifted it up, and now it's nice and clean here. It's been patched over, everything's been painted, and you can't even see it anymore. So that worked out really well. And just in terms of the last two shop vac switches here, I guess this is number 10 and number 11. These were supposed to be for the table saw, and I just basically have a twist lock plug here. I think I have them saved here somewhere. Yeah, so these were going to be the plugs here. You know, if we needed to move the table saw, I could have just disconnected these, so they would plug in and they lock in place. And this would be attached to the last two switches here to control the vacuum on the table saw. Then if you have to move it, you just undo it and it's good to go. These switches would be actually attached onto the table saw, but they're there in the future. If I ever do want to bring a table saw in here, I can always bring them back. Okay, so I think that's about it for the shop vac, the air compressor, and the air cleaner.